I'm joined by MIke Guilfoyle, Director of Research at ARC Advisory Group. Mike, welcome.
Thank you.
You spent a lot of time recently thinking about workforce issues related to digital transformation. What trends are you seeing related to the people side of transformation, and why is this topic so important?
The reason why this topic is so important is digital transformation, by its very nature, tends to be very technological. So when people consider how they can transform their businesses, they're thinking in terms of technology. They're thinking in terms of operational efficiency, process. Rarely do they start with human beings, their most valuable asset, in the middle of that. So one of the things that people are finding is that dealing with the human issues related to digital transformation are really the hardest things that they're going to have to deal with as change occurs. So what they'll want to do as they make their plans for what use cases they may solve, what business needs that they're going to tackle, is really to understand the implications on the people involved in them. Not just what their role should be in digital transformation, but the value that they'll gain from digital transformation. Because empowering people is really what this is all about at the end of the day.
Now, when it comes to digital transformation, many companies are still struggling to scale their efforts and achieve an ROI. Why is this happening, and how can organizations change that dynamic?
There's really three key things that I see that are very common, and they all have to do with flaws in the planning process. First is people are overwhelmed by all the possibilities of digital transformation. You could just have hundreds and thousands of possible use cases and business needs that you might solve, and just the sheer number can be very bewildering. So what people do is they don't want to deal with that, so they set off in the pursuit of technology, assuming that technology is somehow going to give them a framework to tackle any problem they want to solve. What inevitably we see is that when they are overwhelmed by the possibilities, pursue the technology, they forget about what I call the elephant in the room, which are the cultural barriers that they're going to have to deal with. Because what they're trying to do is not change them incrementally. They're trying to transform their business. And that means really overcoming all of those traditional cultural barriers that have been instilled into their businesses for such a long time. So to do that, it really, in my opinion, comes down to creating what I call a connective tissue between business strategy and a lot of these tactical digital initiatives. In doing so, you can understand what the appetite of the company is in terms of their ability to change, what cultural barriers they have, how hardened those barriers are, what people are involved in those, and how they can really affect those. And in doing so, you really eliminate some of those cultural barriers, and you unlock all of the different possibilities that digital transformation can bring to you. And in doing so, you have a business strategy that has adherence at all levels of the company, from the top to the bottom. And then they can also execute on that at the very granular level and understand what they're trying to do in the context of the business strategy, because the cultural barriers have been surfaced and the company knows that they'll have to deal with them. So it's not simply about technology, It's really about cultural change and what they're trying to affect. And then the technology that is going to do that becomes much more obvious to them.
Thank you for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And this is Chris Kinane coming to you from ARC Advisory Group's Orlando Forum. Thank you for watching.